Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk about Garbaneri of the Iron Fortress. The world is in the midst of the Industrial Revolution when horrific creatures emerge from a mysterious virus, ripping through the flesh of humans to sate their never-ending appetite. The only way to kill these beings, known as Garbane, is by destroying their steel-coated hearts. However, if bitten by one of these monsters, the victim is doomed to a fate far worse than death. Mankind has created a massive wall to protect themselves from the endless hordes of Garbane. The only way into these giant fortresses is via heavily armoured trains. On the island country of Hinomoto, an armoured train is attacked by several Garbane. At the train's destination, the MC Ikoma, a steamsmith, is working on a powerful piercing gun to kill the Garbane. When the train arrives at the station, Ikoma steals some Garbane body parts for his experiment. He's detained for insubordination. Later, another train arrives at the station. The defensive drawbridge is lowered, but the train is taken over by the Garbane, who crash it into the wall, allowing them to attack the station. Ikoma flees to his home, lures a Garbane into the house and kills it with his bolt gun, but is bitten in the process and begins to transform into a Garbane. Using several painful and potentially fatal techniques, Ikoma stops his blood flow from carrying the virus to his brain. He successfully does so, reverting to his human form and passing out. Meanwhile, a girl named Mume kills a Garbane using a blade which forms the base of her shoe. Ikoma, discovering that he stopped the Garbane virus from infecting him, tells his fellow steamsmith Takumi of his success. Meanwhile, the rest of the survivors seek an opportunity to escape into the armoured train, but they get surrounded by Garbane. Mume arrives dressed in battle gear and offers to clear the way. She leaps into the midst of the Garbane and leads them away, killing several in the process. The remaining citizens then rush to board the train. Meanwhile, Ikoma and Takumi attempt to board the train with his gun. Mume detects something different about Ikoma and vouches for him so he can board the train. Ayame, the station owner's daughter, uses the special key to start the train's engine. Gurusu, Ayame's personal bodyguard, tells Mume to defend the train's rear, but she refuses and falls asleep. While fending off a Garbane, Ikoma's infected heart is exposed. He gets shot by Gurusu and falls off the train. However, the train is stopped by a malfunction of the drawbridge, and the passengers witness Ikoma killing the Garbane. Lecturing the passengers for their distrust, Ikoma manually releases the drawbridge, allowing the train to leave. Despite the people's objections, Takumi and Mume get Ikoma back on the train. Before Kurusu can kill him, Mume intervenes and reveals that she and Ikoma are Garbaneri, beings with an existence between humans and Garbane. After Mume reveals her identity as a Garbaneri, Ayame stops Kurusu from killing the Garbaneri and reminds everyone that they were rescued by Ikoma and Mume. The train is headed for the Gongogaku greatest stronghold, and Mume insists on staying on board. However, the passengers are filled with alarm and distrust because of a lack of food, water, and whether they'll be admitted into Gongogaku because of the presence of the Garbaneri accompanying them. Mume reveals that she has a mission and needs help from Ikoma because she gets exhausted after fighting. She begins training Ikoma personally in preparation for future Garbane attacks. The train stops for water and repairs, and the passengers take the opportunity to pray for those who died at the station. Ikoma tells Mume that he has vowed to avenge his sister's death at the hands of the Garbane, while holding a green stone tied to his palm, which seems to have some effect on the Garbane. Mume reveals that Garbaneri can only survive by drinking human blood. As people start panicking, a pregnant woman becomes a Garbane and Mume kills her. Meanwhile, Ayame attacks Ikoma, but he tells her about his vow to kill Garbane, appeasing the passengers' fears of the Garbaneri. However, he becomes insane from his own need of blood and attacks her. Gurusu rescues Ayame just as the Garbane appear in the woods, surrounding the train, and everyone gets back on board. Still fearful of the Garbaneri, the 6 chiefs ask Ayame to hand over the train's master key. To her dismay, one of the chiefs reroutes the train for the mountains to provide a shorter route to Gongogaku, in spite of the increased danger posed by the Garbane on the exposed mountain path. Then they force Takumi and a girl to go to the train's last wagon where Mume and Ikoma are and detach the car. However, the Garbane, including Wazatori, a Garbane that's learnt combat techniques and is thus much more dangerous, ambush the train and kill some of the passengers. Ayame, Gurusu and the warriors hold off the Garbane while the surviving passengers escape to the train's front. Using his sword-wielding skills, Gurusu fights the remaining Garbane inside the train at close quarters. Simultaneously, Mume, Ikoma and their allies escape from their car and fight the Garbane, but Mume falls asleep from exhaustion. Gurusu fights the Wazatori but is injured in the process. With Ikoma in need of fresh blood, Ayame slashes her arm and replenishes him with her blood. After Ikoma kills the Wazatori, they all celebrate their victory. Ayame regains the Master Key and declares that she'll allow the Garbaneri to stay on board the train, offering her blood to help sustain them. Ikoma's friends and a number of others, including Kurusu, join her. Ikoma helps the warriors develop weapons to kill the Garbane. The train arrives to another station, which was attacked by Garbane, who still remain within. The train passengers rescue some human survivors who talk of a black fog before the attack. Mume meets Enoku, a crippled fighter still loyal to her brother, the young master. He warns that the shogunate is acting suspiciously by stockpiling weapons that aren't for killing Garbane and advises her to complete her mission. Since the debris block the tracks, the train committee decide to use a crane to remove it. Ikoma suggests a cautious route to the crane, but Mume unexpectedly insists on a head-on clash with the Garbane. While Ikoma leads a group of engineers to start the crane, Mume attacks the nest of Garbane single-handedly, estimating that she has 90 seconds of energy left. She defeats them, but before the working party can start the crane, even more Garbane appear. The crew retreat and Ikoma starts to lift the debris with the crane while Mume uses her remaining energy to fight the horde of Garbane. She's then attacked by a Wazatori and Ikoma goes to her aid before he completely removes the debris. At that moment, a giant shadowy figure heads towards the train. The black fog is revealed to be a colony of Garbane fused into one giant beast. Unable to leave, the train retreats to the station workshop and they seal the door. The committee discuss their options of whether to leave or stay. Ikoma finds Mume trapped under rubble and tries to release her. Unable to free her, he leads the Garbane away from her and kills as many as he can. Later, Kurusu and some others rescue Mume via a tunnel. She runs to find Ikoma, who is badly wounded, and they all return to the train together. While the black fog beast is distracted, feeding on the bodies of the dead Garbane, Ikoma removes the wreckage from the tracks. Mume suggests a plan to kill the beast using everyone working together. The train leaves the workshop with the beast in pursuit. At the last possible moment, they shoot the beast with the train's cannon, and Mume kills the woman controlling it, who, much to her surprise, was a Garbaneri like her. With the beast defeated, the train leaves the station. The train arrives at another station which is occupied by humans. They're only allowed to stay for a couple of days. They're offered food and other provisions in exchange for the jet bullets technology invented by Ikoma. Mume reveals to Ikoma that her name was Hozumi before she became a Garbaneri, and he promises that he'll make her human again. The following day, an elite team arrives that hunts Garbane, led by Biba, who Mume calls her brother. However, Ikoma is suspicious of Biba's past and whether he's really a hero or something else. Biba's introduced to Ayame. Later, the Garbane attack the station and Biba takes his hunter squad and destroys them all. He also kills Enoku, who he accuses of betrayal. He then offers to accompany Ayame's train to Gongogaku and she accepts. Ikoma suspects that Mume's brother turned her into a Garbaneri and gave the name Mume for his own purposes. Biba asks Mume to take the train's master key from Ayame, but she's tricked and given the wrong key. Ikoma discovers that Biba's transporting Garbane on his train, but Biba uses Mume to prevent him from entering the carriage. Ikoma's convinced that Mume's brother is not a hero. Biba's train is refused entry by the Shogun samurai to Iwato Station, the last before Gongogaku. Ayame decides to part company with the hunters and asks Ikoma to get Mume. Lord Maeda, leader of the fortress, agrees to a meeting with Biba on the condition that only women and children accompany him. During the meeting, Mume leaves saying that she needs to go to the toilet and lowers the station's drawbridge to let Biba's Garbane into the station. Biba then kills Lord Maeda. When Mume sees the Garbane attack on the station, she's horrified by the consequences of her actions. Meanwhile, Biba's men take Ayame hostage and kill the Shogun samurai for what Biba says is retribution for the shogunate's cowardice for the past 10 years. He believes that only the strong should survive. Biba injects his Garbaneri named Horobi with a serum so that she can become the heart of another black fog beast, gathering all the Garbane into a single colony called Nue. She's getting shot, but all in vain. The Nue destroys the Great Gate. As the virus gets into her head, the Nue is defeated, but Horobi survives and continues to fight. When she reaches Biba, he kills her since she served her purpose. In the aftermath, Biba and his men control a devastated Iwato station. Mume then realizes that everything Biba had told her was a lie. Biba and his troops are now in control of Ayame's train and its passengers, using their blood to feed his Garbane. Biba offers a deal to Ayame that if she can open the gates to Gongogaku and arrange a meeting with his father, he will guarantee the safety of her people. He tells of the time when his father sent him with 400,000 troops to Kyushu to fight the Gabane, but when replacement supplies failed to arrive, they were overrun and wiped out, for which he blames his father. Meanwhile, Ikoma hatches a daring plan with some of the passengers to retake control of the train. Biba offers Mume a chance to join his troops, but she refuses and is forced to take captive vaccine and sedated. Ikoma's group starts their attack to take control of the train, but Biba had anticipated a counterattack and confronts Ikoma, killing Takumi, who sacrifices himself to save Ikoma. Biba then calls on Mume to kill Ikoma. She obeys his orders due to Biba's captive vaccine, stabbing Ikoma, who falls from the train into the coast far below. Gurusu, who went missing in the previous attack, finds Ikoma still alive, washed up on the shore. Meanwhile, Biba injects Mume with the same liquid that he used on Horobi to turn her into a Nue. The train arrives at Gongogaku and announces that they've captured the men who destroyed Iwato Station, so they're allowed entry. Ayame pretends to have Biba prisoner because her crew are being held hostage, and they're taken to meet the Shogun. Biba tricks the Shogun into holding a sword tainted with the Gabane virus, which turns him into a Gabane. Biba then kills him and announces to everyone that Gabane are among them, which creates a panic, and people start to kill each other out of fear. The warriors of Biba take the train into the city and release the Gabane, while Ayame escapes with the help of her uncle. Gurusu has one of Biba's scientists prisoner with knowledge about the Gabane virus. He says the Mume can be saved once she becomes a Nue by injecting white plasma into her heart. Ikoma insists on being injected by black plasma to give him additional strength, although it will accelerate the Gabane virus and shorten his life. Mume begins her transformation into a Nue to fulfill Biba's dream of destruction. Ikoma and Gurusu enter Gongogaku, drawing the Gabane towards them. Ayame appeals to the humans to stop attacking each other in fear and entreats them to leave Gongogaku with her people in the train. Meanwhile, Ikoma is able to reach Mume with Gurusu's help. Mume seems to be unaware of what she's become, recalling memories from the past and imagining herself surrounded by butterflies. As Ikoma is getting closer to her, suddenly he's intercepted by Biba, who's revealed as a Carabinieri. During the fight, Biba stabs Ikoma with his sword, but this doesn't kill him, and as he's about to try again, Ikoma recovers and blasts him with his bolt gun. Mume appears to understand that Ikoma is near, and she allows him to inject her with the white serum, destroying the Nue and returning her to her previous form. Biba, who's still alive, approaches Ikoma to fight him, but Mume stops him and stabs him with her sword. Ayame and her people leave the smoldering city of Gongogaku in the train with Gurusu, Mume and an injured Ikoma on board. Ikoma starts to recover thanks to a serum secretly given by Biba, and the effects of the black serum seem to diminish. As an afterthought, Mume hands him back his green stone. So this is it for today's video. If you like the video, give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Farewell till next time.